Hey there guys, so last time in One Piece we saw Ginny kidnapped by government soldiers because a celestial dragon wanted her as his wife. And after that 2 years passed and there was no sign of Ginny at all, but then she returned with her child. And right away she contacted Revolutionary Headquarters to hear Kuma's voice for one last time. Because she had given birth to a celestial dragon's child, and was then thrown into a human experiment where she got a disease that turns her body stone hard in natural light. Yet she came back home with her child so that Bonnie could survive. Kuma was broken by this, but committed to taking responsibility for Ginny's child. That's how he became a father. But Bonnie also developed the same disease Ginny had. One doctor found it was sapphire stones, which would soon kill Bonnie before she turned 10. And right after that, King Bikori returned with the world government to seize Sorbet Kingdom again. First, he burned the whole southern part to decrease the population, and Kuma did his best to save as many as he could. But a child's mother was still left in that place, so Kuma went back into the pits of fire. At that time, King Bikori was enjoying the show at his castle. Because far to the east someone did the same, and celestial dragons praised that king for taking out garbages, but then citizens started protesting his actions in front of the castle. And he ordered his men to shoot down a few, thinking the garbages would stop this nonsense. It seemed to work on normal folks, but not on Kuma. He took out those damn monsters because they just don't deserve mercy. Kuma easily reached the king, and even then Bikori was still spewing poison. He promised to offer this kingdom to Kuma in return of his life, and called those people trash. That hit rock bottom, because he saw the tears of that little girl seeing her mother's dead body. Kuma knows this pain because he had lost everyone precious too, and Bikori tried one last attempt to save his life by threatening Kuma with a celestial dragon. But Kuma didn't listen, and soon Bikori was replaced by a new king. The news reached the world government as Kuma had liberated the kingdom. He became their savior, so the people made him the new king, yet he humbly decided to live in his church while the previous King Bulldog ran the kingdom in Kuma's place. Their Bonnie was doing her exercise, but everyone was shocked seeing Ginny. That just couldn't be true, and she called Kuma Daddy because she was Bonnie. After she saw her face in the mirror, she reverted back to normal in shock. Kuma passed out, and an old man guessed it could be a devil fruit power, but for now Bulldog came back to meet Kuma. And suddenly Bonnie became an old hag, but the real Bonnie was talking with Bulldog, the former king, and that old hag was Bulldog's mother. Anyways, Bulldog came to discuss the news spreading out that Kuma forcefully took control of Sorbet Kingdom, so Bikori would come back with the world government this time. If he did, the people of this kingdom were done for. That's why Kuma took responsibility for saving them, even if it meant he'd be branded a criminal. That's why he asked Bulldog to look after Bonnie once he's gone. Then he told Bonnie he had to leave, but the little lady just didn't want to be alone. But sadly, both had to stay apart for a while now, as Bikori did bring warships and soldiers, but it only took a single attack from Kuma to sink them all, for which Kuma was put on the wanted list as a pirate with a bounty. From then on, Kuma traveled all around the world to find a cure for Bonnie, and if you notice, those were all the places he had sent Luffy and his crew, because he knew those places would help them grow stronger anyway. Kuma did his best to find a cure, but found nothing. And soon he was on the verge of giving up, but the next morning came with new hope as he ran into the Revolutionary Army and Dragon on the ship. It has been a while since he met them. And in this time Iva and Inazuma got captured. Kuma became a tyrant king and a pirate. But then Betty asked Kuma for permission to become the captain of the Easter Division, because Dragon had ordered to leave that place vacant in honor of Ginny. Kuma gave his permission, so she ran away happily to celebrate. A lot had changed since Kuma left, and he wished to tell Dragon about the wrong things happening in the world. But Bonnie had time ticking on her, and Dragon had a way. It was Dr. Vegapunk. He was working for the world government, but he's a trustworthy person who goes by his desires. So maybe he could help Bonnie, and luckily his security was lax right now, so Kuma could give a shot. That's how Kuma took his leave to go meet Dr. Vegapunk. He returned back home, and saw Bonnie had already messed up some soldiers. She was still energetic as ever, so Kuma safely brought her to Dr. Vegapunk's place. Both guys were surprised seeing each other's oddness for sure. Then the little princess came out and made fun of the mountain head. Doc didn't mind and took a quick look at her conditions. Then Vegapunk said he could cure her disease easily, but before that he examined Kuma for a blood cell transplant, because that's the way to save the little princess. That would cost as much as making a cyborg, but then Doc got shocked to find out Kuma was from the Buccaneer clan. But Kuma trusted Dragon, so Vegapunk decided to keep his mouth shut, because his desire was to create a clone army using Kuma's DNA that would save the world from the threat of pirates. That way Kuma wouldn't have to pay a penny too. Kuma was fine with all of that if it could save Bonnie, but Vegapunk knew Dragon would be furious. Yet Kuma was happy with his sacrifice. Vegapunk saw a saint's heart in Kuma. But Kuma said he was just a pacifist, nothing more. That's why Vegapunk named his clones Pacifista to honor Kuma. And right there our episode 1133 ends. So stay tuned to watch the next episode, and for that subscribe the channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. Till then, take care.